Once, I was in a crowded party. The music was blasting. People were everywhere. And I couldn't stop my eyes from darting around the room, and suddenly I felt that someone was looking at me. The kind of gaze just land on you and you cannot just let it go. My heart started racing. Why was he looking at me? Is it friendly, or did he think I didn't belong to here? And suddenly everything felt bigger, louder, and every love sounded like a comment on me. And the light and line seemed way too bright, and the footsteps glass moving, they were all so turned up and so magnified. I tried to blend in. I tried to read everyone's intention, but the more I tried, the more exhausted I felt. And I thought about living, but I didn't, because out there on the empty street, loneliness was waiting. Every quiet street reminded me that I have to notice my distance away from the world, even out there. So I stayed, caught between the eye of crowded and the cold of solitude. And looking back, I realized that is what it meant to be sensitive. It can be exhausting, but it was also powerful. For a long time of my life, I deeply feel that sensitivity harms me. It was the reason I had to leave a loud party early. A critical movement could ruin my whole day, and the feeling just always made me feel overwhelmed. And later on, when I was about to write a story, I was confused on what to write. And the scene of the party just naturally bumped into my mind. I feel I control the party within my words, like the way how people standing next to me let out a quiet sigh, and their brows slightly furrowed and finger tipping nervously. The glance someone landed on my way that made me feel heart race, and started thinking, what were they thinking? And the lights reflecting off the glasses and the flickering of the dancing floor, and then the low bass of the background music, they were all seemed so real and so magnified. So I started to write. I wrote a scene where the characters in the crowd and feeling the weight of other people's gaze, heart pounding like the drum, and every word echoed through the charged atmosphere. Those tiny observations made the story come alive. I was proud of my essay. In this experience, sensitivity is no longer a torture, but a power. It is an ability for me to better understand the world. So today, I want to talk about the power of sensibility. So what exactly is sensitivity? It is not just being a little emotional. Psychologists Dr. Elaine Aron describe it as an increased emotional responsiveness, deeper perception of information, and a stronger reactivity to stimuli, including loud noises and light, and maybe the emotion of people next to you. It's like having a nervous system that is always good at capturing details around you. And right here, in this theater, about 1 in 5 of us are wired this way. So you are never alone. And it is more than a film. It's happening right here in our brain. Neuroscience showed us that when a highly sensitive person is at rest, a network called the fault mode network, or DMN, is particularly active. It is the reason responsible for imagination, deeper thinking, and self-reflection. It is our internal storyteller, and meanwhile, the outer part of our frontal cortex, the area responsible for rigid and logical thinking, is less active. These two systems have an inverse relationship, representing when one is lit up, other is quieter, which is a good news, since we can intentionally concentrate on the code to eliminate us from being too sensitive in a harming way. In a world that praised loud, fast, and assertive extroversion, a sensitive person can be misread as shyness, indecision, and even fragility. But let me be clear, sensitivity is not a weakness. It is a strength of depth, a special kind of strength, and It is an objective ability that is too precious to be judged by merely positive and negative. First, sensitivity gives me special insight. I remember that day in the ballroom, my friend came to greet me. He lifted his hand in a quick, awkward wave as his smile tightened, quivering at the corners, and the greeting came in a strange and higher pitch than usual. An alarm rose inside me and informed me that he was not such a person before. Like, he never scrubbed his hand when talking in normal days. So I soon realized that there might be something happening to him. As a third person standing within and without the party, I glanced and observed every participant and their distance between each other, how their hand and pitch move when talking to different people, and I could see the subtle tension flow here and there in the room. It's like a graph of magnetic field on the physics book, and with my sensibility, I can see this tension and force. In this party, there are arguments. Surely there are, and it's part of the tension. Both A and B want the only soda left on the table, but either one of them wanted to behave with great restraint and politeness, claiming to give the Coke to the other party, but their hand holding tight in their sleeves show that they're struggling between the desire of the sweet taste of the Coke and the willing to behave in a courteous manner in the public. As several seconds passed and each one defined loud and A with B reached out his hand to get the Coke, but as his finger tipped the Coke, he dragged his hand back and reached out his hand to the bottle, and I think this is the kind of tension that form the world we live. Rather than merely defining who is right or wrong, these subtle tensions claim the world we live in a more accurate way. And thanks to my sensibility, I can see this tension. The ability to see the tension between each people and to see they're struggling. And I think we can call it empathy. Later on, when I was about to write a story, a party appeared just in front of me naturally. And I can see or recall those interesting movements, like in the party, the way people look at each other, how their tone and pitch changes when talking to different people, and how the light blinked in the eyes of some people glancing at the light. And all those short pieces of the story just came to my mind and formed my story naturally. What I captured with my sensibility helped me to create, since creativity is the byproduct of understanding the real-life logic of the world. Then, as I embrace my sensitivity, I can discover more from the world I live. And later on, I have to accept that sometimes I must discover something unpromising, something I don't want to see. But after long struggling of denying and re-recognizing, I know they're true and I just embrace them. Sensitivity made me feel that there is such a beautiful world other than me, and it made me feel how humble I am compared to the world. And besides being able to explore and just to feel the world, to make interaction with the world in a natural way, make me feel complete. This is the ultimate magic of sensitivity, the deep connection with the world we live. So, how do we harness this power when the world seems just overwhelming? First, it is crucial to know that it is not sensitivity you need to get rid of. Sensitivity is like a swift horse, a racing car that have outstanding ability but much harder to master. The word master here stands for the ability to control your sensibility, that you can control them to focus on certain events while preventing them to harm you. According to Dr. Tracy Marks, there are several simple and cute ways you can do every day, and it is easy for practice. One powerful technique is called the 5-4-3-2-1 method. Right here in the room, or whenever you feel you are overwhelmed, you can describe 5 things you can see. Say, right here in this room, I can see you guys listening. I can see my friend. I can see the flower, the window, the light, and whatever. Then you may want to describe it in a more detailed and accurate way. Say the flower is red and is on the bottom of the theater. Then you may move on. You describe 4 things you can feel, 3 things you can hear, 1 thing you can smile, and the 2 things you can smile, and the 1 thing you can taste. These ground you in your sense. Other tricks to activate the outer layer of our prefrontal cortex include doing simple math problems to intentionally focus on the rigid logic, and also to splash cold water on your face to give yourself a psychological reset. It always works. I tried a lot of times. And last but not least, never ever forget to give yourself a word cuddle. So, now we know that sensitivity is your inner voice. It might be unique. It might sometimes trouble you and make you overwhelmed, but it is never negative. Try to communicate with this voice and never forget to give your inner speaker and your talented Holy Spirit a warm cuddle. Thank you.